Hello world, I'm coming to you live from my kitchen where the most annoying things, okay, have taken place. I'm debating whether or not I want bangs. Thus, these things in my face. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to take this. So we'll see what happens as the video progresses, okay? Oh my god, I'm so annoyed. Like, just... Listen, so yesterday I spent all day editing, okay? And I woke up this morning, I couldn't fucking sleep because I'm like, I have to wake up, I have to finish this last part of the video so that I could save all 3 parts together and have it posted for y'all today. Like, it should have been posting to YouTube right now, okay? But what happens? I'm gonna tell you. I started trying to film this video Wednesday morning, right? On the roof. And I had footage of me trying and failing the process of trying to record the video on the roof. There was a fucking bumblebee out that bitch that kept flying in my face, okay? The cicadas wouldn't shut the fuck up. There was a helicopter that came at one point, okay? It was just, oh my God. And then what happens? I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm having this. I can't do it. So I went to the basement. I put up a fucking backdrop that is literally a black shower curtain that was stuffed somewhere in the closet. When I pulled it out, it was a wrinkled mess. How do you fucking iron plastic? Everything that could have gone wrong on Wednesday as far as filming this video went wrong. But I pulled it together and I fucking made it happen, okay? And I recorded the damn review. The rest of that day, I spent it editing. Yesterday, I spent the whole fucking day editing. And when I went to sleep having saved the part 2 because I edited it in 3 different parts, or else the shit starts to lag and it just becomes a big ordeal, and I don't want to go through this shit. So what happens? I, like a fucking asshole, deleted the first part of the video. The part that has, like, you know, the introduction, the fucking bloopers from what happened on the roof, then me in the basement telling the whole first part of the review. So what happens now? What happens now is that I have to do it all over again. Luckily for me, that it's only one portion. It's only like I break the video up into 3 when I edit it, right? And then once it's all done, I put the 3 parts together, save it, so now it's one whole video, and I post that bitch to fucking YouTube. And so that's what I was about to do when I realized, hold the fuck up. Why are both these 2 videos the exact same length? And when I click play, it's because it's the same fucking video. Puñeta. Oh my God, I deleted the wrong video. And then I was trying to recover my shit, and there was no recovering it, okay? Why? Because I don't have my shit backed up. Listen, I'm not a fucking electronical human being, okay? So here we are, and we're gonna do this again. So, welcome, world, to the fucking Wentworth season 9, the final sentence, okay? Episode 3, review. In this review, we're gonna have spoilers, so just fucking get the hell out of here if you don't want no damn spoilers. I feel like you should know. If you're coming to a review of a fucking episode, then common sense would tell you that there's gonna be spoilers. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. The review begins right now. So episode 3 begins with a recap of episode 2, okay? But in this recap, they throw in a little clip from season 8. In this clip, it's the clip of Linda eavesdropping on Will and Mari's conversation last season when they were in the governor's office talking, and he was telling her, I trusted you once and never again. You know what I'm saying? I predicted something and it came true, okay? And for me, that's very exciting, all right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because like 95% of my predictions are incorrect. Oh God, give me the strength. So I'm editing this video and I had to stop real quick because look at these hairs, all right? Yo, what else could possibly go wrong in the making of this video? I just want to go back and fix those hairs, but I can't. We'll talk more about it when the time comes, all right? What's this? You know, these stray hairs? It makes me want to shave my sides again, but at the same time, that was a lot to live with. So the episode 3 begins with footage of the women and they're fighting. It's very reminiscent of Fight Club from season 7, I believe it was. Was it season 7? I don't fucking know. The Fight Club. Whenever Fight Club happened, that's what these pictures reminded me of. It was the inmates and they're fighting. The footage we know is being captured by the camera that Gavin snuck in during the conjugal visits and gave to Boomer in exchange for his spoof. So Boomer's like recording the women fighting. They're taking showers in the showers naked. You know what I'm saying? They're fucking in the library making out and filling each other up and shit. And Boomer's capturing all this with the camera. So we see her go into the bathroom. She takes her camera and she walks out like nothing ever happened. You know what I'm saying? And so in the next scene, it's Boomer and Ruby and they're walking in the yard through the fucking gates and shit. And they're going to the yard. And as they're walking, Boomer's telling her this fucking footage is trash. You know what I'm saying? It's just trash. All I have is some corny ass fights, bitches making out and filling each other up with some saggy ass titties. And as they're walking, you know, Boomer is asking herself a question. And the question is, are there no decent tetas within the halls of Wentworth? You know what I'm saying? And my thought was, hello? Do you or do you not know that Luke Kelly is within these walls? So what happens? The two of them stumble upon Allie and Judy Bryant's treacherous fucking ass, okay, in that little area. And they're talking. Judy's telling her how Allie's lawsuit is going through. They crack a joke about Allie's gonna be a rich girl. Allie's like, what the fuck am I gonna spend this money on? You know what I'm saying? And whatever. And they walk into the yard. We see Zaina, whose character is growing on me, I must say. The more that I see her on the screen, the more I like her. Like, she's down with Lou's crew, you know what I'm saying? But her heart is in H1, okay? So, but she's just scared of Lou, so she's gotta be down with it. It's either be down with Lou or get fucked up. So she's gonna choose her physical safety, and she's gonna do what she needs to do in order to survive. She's in the fucking, you know, I say that, and then what I'm about to say next contradicts everything that I just said, but just listen. Now we're in the yard and we see Zaina's hand underneath one of the benches and she's doing a transaction with one of the women. She's giving her some gear in exchange for some bread, you know what I'm saying? And who sees this? Mandy, Luke Kelly's right-hand man, okay? Mullet, Mandy, same person. So fucking Mullet comes and tells Zaina, oi, ¿qué tú haces? Okay? You are not supposed to be doing any type of shit like this without Lou's say-so, right? And Zaina's like, she's in the fucking slot, you know what I'm saying? And furthermore, Luke Kelly is no top dog of mine, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to do a damn thing. She's no top dog of mine. I feel like we should have a vote. You know, first of all, Zaina got a lot of heart because Luke Kelly washed you up, okay? She dragged your ass up and down the halls of Wentworth, kicked you several times, okay? And made you sing like a canary. And here you are about to jump on top of a table and say what she's about to say next. She's not scared, even though she is. So she gets to the table and she's like, who thinks that we should have a vote for top dog? And then Mullet comes and she's like, oh yeah? Who got the heart to challenge Luke Kelly? And then what happens? Boomer happens. Boomer stands up and says, I shall conquer this mountain, okay? Which means, she didn't say that. She basically stood up and said, I will challenge Luke Kelly, okay? And then she looks down at Allie and she smiles, and Allie looks up at her and smiles, and like they're communicating with their eyes, and Allie's telling her, you can do this, Boomer, that's right. You know, you stand up for yourself and for these women. So in the next scene, oh my God, we see Anne Reynolds. Okay, we see Anne Reynolds pulling up in her vehicle, okay, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this bitch is back. I could have done without her for another episode, but here we are, whatever. So she's coming out the vehicle, she goes into the fucking prison, she's in the conference room now with all of the screws, okay, including Linda Miles, all right, Will Jackson, who we know is the governor, Vera's in there. They're all in the fucking room, and Anne is flipping the fuck out. She's losing her shit, and she's reprimanding them. She's telling them, I'm gone, How long was she gone? Was she gone for a week? Was she gone for a month? I don't remember what this bitch said. She was gone for a minute, but she's back now, okay? So she's like, listen, in my absence, you motherfuckers let some shit pop off. Like there's 2 fucking murders. You know what I'm saying? Another prisoner is stabbed up and paralyzed, and said prisoner is now suing the prison, okay? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all motherfuckers? This is what happens when I'm not around? You know, they're all looking at her like, bitch, this is your fault. So Will vocalizes these thoughts that they're all like simultaneously having, except for Linda Miles. Linda Miles is sitting there loving every minute of Anne's rant, all right? And I just wanted to smack the shit out of Linda Miles in this scene. Will and Anne, they're going, you know, toe to toe. And Will is telling her everything was fine in this prison before you came along with your fucking jacked up fucking system. And Anne is like, the system was already jacked before I got here. This is the only prison that this type of shit happens in. That's what she does. This whole thing with her hand, like she's fucking, I don't know what the fuck, but it pissed me off. I wanted to take her by the wrist, okay? And just, you know, just do something to the wrist to stop her from doing that. Because it was oh my gosh, she looked like a bitch that you want to fucking backsmack back into their mother's womb. You know what I'm saying? They're talking shit, and then Anne tells them, listen, I'm introducing some shit. From now on, the women are going to be drug tested every week. There was drugs in Reb and Lou's system. First of all, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with anything. I don't know what the drugs have to do with anything, but I'm assuming that this storyline had to come into play in order for what happens with Joan and the drug test later on to occur. You know what I'm saying? She's telling them, I'm going to bring in some restraint stations, and the women are going to be named and shamed if they fail their drug tests, right? And so I'm saying to myself, bitch, first of all, do you not realize where you are, okay? First of all, these women are inmates. They're prisoners. They're here for the fucking long haul. They're gonna get high. And furthermore, do you think that they give a shit if any of the other women know that they out there hitting the pipe heavy? They don't give a fuck, all right? They don't care. They have other things to worry about, like staying alive, okay? That they're gonna give a fuck that Anne Reynolds names and shames them. She's bugging. She's fucking bugging. Anne is a fucking bitch, okay? Those were in my notes. So while all of this is going on, you know what I'm saying, Will gets a thing on the walkie-talkie, and they're like, the brawl is here. So we already know what's happening. We see a picture of the brawler coming into Wentworth, and it's Rita. It's Rita Connors in that brawler. Will has gone outside to greet her, okay? Will is there. They make eye contact. Now they're in the walls of Wentworth, and they're walking towards intake. And Will is telling her, like, he's just like, you know, saddened that she's back there. And she's like, you can say it, I fucked up. And he's like, you know, nah, like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And she told him what happened. Rita is not fighting jack shit, okay? She's given up the fight and has decided that she's just gonna do her time. You know, she's telling him, I got to see my dad. I sung him home. Oh my God, that part was so beautiful. I'll never get over it. So she's telling him that, and then what happens? Vera comes. Vera gives her condolences, you know what I'm saying? And then she leaves so that Rita could go into intake. Rita and Will are left. They're saying their last thoughts to one another. And Rita looks at Will and she tells him, you know, you're a good fella, Mr. Jackson. And, you know, I concur because he's a great freaking guy. Vera and Will, they have respect for Rita. They realize and recognize the fact that if it wasn't for Rita, the siege could have gone a whole different way. It could have ended bad, okay? Like worse than it did, because there were casualties, we know it. They all have like this mutual respect within these walls of Wentworth. The screws and the inmates, the women, just these bonds that they form up in this bitch. It's beautiful, you know what I'm saying? In the next scene, we have Allie and Judy, and they're inside Allie's cell. Judy's helping Allie. And she's telling her, we don't have to do this. And Judy's like, listen, this is my penance, okay? I'll wipe your shitted asshole if need be. Allie tells her, oh God, if it ever gets to that, smother me with a pillow. And Judy's like, nah, I'll let Boomer do that. And Allie looks at her like, bitch, you thought that was fun. Then quickly says, you know, I don't blame you or whatever. And yada yada. And so that's the moment where Judy decides to bring up to Ali this idea that she has to stay in Australia longer and to like slow down her extradition to the fucking States. And she tells Ali, you know, if I say that I'm your partner and that you need my help for your care because of you being paralyzed, it could work and I could stay. So Ali tells her, yeah, that she's with it. So in my notes here, I had wrote, I thought Judy was going to try to seduce Ali. Her honesty shocked me. Fuck you, Judy. Because, like, you know, listen, whatever it is, I don't care if you're being honest in this moment. You're still a treacherous bitch, and I don't trust you, okay? Out in the unit is Boomer and Ruby. And they're talking, and Boomer looks stressed, and Ruby's like, what's up? And Boomer's like, I don't know what the fuck possessed me to put my hand up and say that I would go and challenge Lou. And Boomer's like, listen, calm down, because you're going to be great. You're going to be fine. And then Boomer's like, oh, shit. And so she's looking at something. And Ruby turns around to see what she's looking at. And when she looks, it's Rita. It's her sister. Oh, it was so touching. So they run to each other and they're hugging. And Rita spins Ruby around. And she's like, let me look at you, girl. And Ruby does like a little twirl. And everyone's happy. They're happy. Mr. Stewart is happy. Boomer is in the sidelines in the back happy. You know what I'm saying? And I got all misty-eyed and shit. I didn't cry. I didn't fully cry. Because, like, for me, there's crying and then there's, like, getting misty-eyed. Misty-eyed is when your eyes get misty, okay? But the tears, they never fall, okay? There's not going to be any cry count in this review because I didn't cry once. But I got misty-eyed, I believe, twice. They're talking and shit, and they're, like, all happy to see each other. And then Ali and Judy come out. And so Rita's looking at Ali. Like, oh shit, what happened to you, girl? And Ali tells her, I slipped in the shower. And Rita's like, you know, she gets it. She's like, say no more. And then Judy introduces herself to Rita. Now, this was very interesting what happens next. Judy is like, hi, I'm Judy. I've heard a lot about you. And Rita just looks at her like, you know, she had no words, but she had lots of thoughts. I saw them. Rita caught a vibe off of Judy, a bad one from jump. That's her intuition, all right? Her fucking police intuition. That's what that was. Judy's a suspect, and she knows it. So listen, what happens next? Boomer starts telling Rita, yo, did you know that we're having a vote for top dog? It's gonna be me against Lou. Rita looks at Ruby like, oh, hell no. And Boomer's like, you know, it's gonna be me versus Lou, but if you want to, you know, jump in there. And as Boomer's talking, Rita's just like, and she walks into her cell and she closes the door. She wanted no parts of no damn top dog. Yo, when I tell you I feel more than ever like Rita is going to be the final top dog, but I don't want her to be. I want freedom for Rita. So then she goes into her cell and Ruby comes into the cell behind her. Rita is putting her things away. And in one moment, Rita grabs the teals. And I was like, oh, God. So Ruby tells her, you're going to wear the teals? And Rita tells her, I might as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be in here for a minute. I might as well get used to this shit. And Ruby's like, what do you mean? You're not going to fight? And Rita's like, nah. I'm not fighting this. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to have your name dragged around in some fucking murder investigation. And I told Dad that I was going to protect you and make sure that you get out of here safe and sound. And that's what the fuck I'm going to do. And Ruby's like, wow. All right. But she's not pleased. You know what I'm saying? And then she tells her, yo, guess what? Mari's back in general population. And Rita's like, what? And Ruby tells her, but it's cool because she's no longer actively trying to kill me and shit. And Rita was like, all right. And so that was that. So now we see Sheila Bausch's dying face, okay, in those moments before she dies, all right? And we see Mari, and she looks traumatized as fuck. So that's what's happening. We see a traumatized Mari Winter, okay? This is the first time that Mari's killed on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So she's traumatized. She's not about this fucking murderous life, okay? She should have just never walked into that chemicals cupboard. I don't know what the fuck she didn't mind her business for. Always in somebody else's shit. Now she's traumatized. This is what she gets. This is your reward, Mari. She's inside H6 while this is happening. And all of a sudden, she sees Linda Miles. And she tells her, Linda, I have a request. I want to be transferred out of H6. And Linda looks at her like, bitch, you're bugging. And she's like, I can't help you. And she's like, please, I got to get out of here. And she's like, you know what? Why don't you ask Will Jackson, okay? Maybe, I'm sure you could find a way to persuade him. Right? And then she smirks and she walks off. And Mari's left like, what the fuck? Bitch, what the hell did she mean by that? You know? Like, she's shocked. And then Joan is in the background listening to the whole damn thing. And she tells Mari, you want to be moved out of H6? You know, like, why? Mari looks at her. She didn't say nothing. And that was that. So now in the next scene, we see a pissed off Anne Reynolds, who's a fucking bitch, okay? Going to visit my precious baby love, Lou Kelly, in the slot. In comes Anne Reynolds talking about, really? We're supposed to be working together and you want to go and kill Sheila? And Lou is like, my bad, bitch, right? A word? Yo, what the fuck were you thinking that you were going to achieve by this? Does you killing Sheila bring back Reb, right? And Lou looks at her dead in the eyes and tells her, first of all, Sheila killed the one person in this fucking world that I loved, all right? And so she had to die. And you're going to look at me in my face and tell me that you wouldn't have done the same exact shit, bitch? And Anne, she couldn't say shit because she knew. That's exactly what the fuck her mission in life is right now as well, okay? To avenge the death of her daughter. And if you ask me, I feel like Judy Bryant is the one that's responsible for the attack that killed Charlotte. And then she tells Lou Kelly, well, you know what? You're getting out of the slot today, and you better hope that we let you out in time because they're having a vote in the fucking cafeteria later on for top dog, and it's between you and Suzanne Jenkins. You know what I'm saying? So Lou Kelly's not worried, okay? Because she's a fucking badass bitch, and she knows what she's capable of. So she's laughing, and she's like, listen, I'm not worried. The women are not going to fucking vote for her. Bottom line. And so that was that. Anne tells Lou, make sure you win that vote because I need for you to keep these bitches in line, all right? And that was that. So as Anne is leaving, okay, Linda is walking in, and Linda tells Anne, yo, are you still serious about firing Will Jackson and making me governor? And Anne tells Linda that you better give me a good damn reason to do it. And Linda says, what about if I tell you that he was having sexual intercourse with one of the inmates? And Anne is like, that's a good reason. And so let me tell you something. I predicted that exact thing happening, okay? I predicted it a little bit different. I predicted that Linda would find out for sure that this affair was happening. She doesn't know it for sure. She's going off of suspicion and pure desperation to become governor, okay? 6 months ago, in this very kitchen sitting over there, I predicted this would happen.
You guys remember in season 8, I don't remember which episode it was. So what happens is Will Jackson summons Mari Winter. So they're in the office. Linda Miles escorts the bitch to the office, and they're in the office, right? And then Linda Miles, for whatever reason, decides that she wants to eavesdrop on the governor's conversation with Mari Winter. Oh, what even possessed her to listen in on their conversation, I wonder? Come season 9, she's probably gonna find out for sure that they had an affair. Will Jackson and Mari Winter had this affair. And when she finds out this information, she's gonna run, of course, to Anne Reynolds and tell Anne Reynolds, yo, the governor was fucking one of the inmates.
What happens in this next scene, I also predicted what happened. So in this next scene, Vera and Will are talking in the yard, and they're like where the gardening area is. You know what I'm saying? Will is telling Vera, you know, I'm gonna have to resign. And Vera tells him, resign? You will do no such damn thing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna deny the whole fucking shit. You're gonna lie and you're gonna say it never happened. All right? That's what you're gonna do. So he's like, all right, fine. This, I predicted what Vera would say to him exactly.
Vera, of course, is gonna be telling Will Jackson, listen, lie. Don't tell the truth that you and Mari had this affair. just lie.
There's another part of this that I also predicted, and I talk about it later on in the video, so you'll see that later. In this next scene, we're in the lunchroom, and we see Boomer just looking as happy as she could possibly fucking look, okay? She's sitting at the table. The women have voted her top dog, all right? You see all the dessert bowls in front of her, just fucking dessert bowls filled with pudding as far as the eyes could see, okay? And everyone's happy. Everyone's happy in the face. Zayn's happy as a pig and shit over there. Ali's over there looking just so genuinely happy. So it was a great moment. And then what happens? Poor unsuspecting Boomer, coño. So then what happens? My precious baby love, because even when she's doing these things, okay, she's still precious to me, okay? So my precious baby love comes with a bowl of pudding in her hands, and then she proceeds to bloop, put the fucking bowl of pudding over Boomer's head. So the pudding is now on top of Boomer's head. There's pudding everywhere, okay? And the women are outraged. Luke Kelly's like, bloop, not giving a shit, putting on your head, oh well, no one cares. And the women look outraged, and fucking Ruby jumps up like, oi, and she pushes Lou. And Lou looks at her like, bitch, sit your ass down. And, you know, Boomer's taking the pudding off of her head, like the bowl and shit. And Jake comes, and he's like, yo, Kelly, chill the fuck out, or do you want to go back to the slot? And she comes and she looks at Jake dead in the eyes, and he's like, you want to go back to the slot, Kelly? And she's like, she takes her thumb, because there's pudding now all over her thumb, all over her shirt, and there's pudding on her thumb. She can't have pudding on her thumb. So she puts the thumb into her mouth and she licks the thumb, right? Looking at Jake Stewart dead in the eyes the entire time. And I'm like, yes, bitch. And I feel like not only was she licking the pudding off of her thumb because she didn't want it there, okay? That was number one. The second reason, she was basically telling Jake, yo, suck my dick. That's what she's saying with her eyes. And that, you just, listen, I know Luke Kelly. Ruby is now telling Luke Kelly, listen, it's too late. We already done voted. Boomer's the top dog. And Ali's like, that's right. It's too late. And I felt bad for Ali in this part, because she's got Boomer's back, okay? She can't really do much because of the position that she's in, but she's got Boomer's back. And so Luke Kelly is like, a word? Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I invoke my right to challenge her, okay? And then she goes up, she walks up to Boomer, and she's like, we're gonna settle this with shivs, you and I are, okay? And she walks off, and Allie's just like, ay, Dios mío, because she knows, you know, a shiv fight, somebody could die or get seriously hurt. Like, look at what happened to her. She's fucking paralyzed. You know, now that I think of it, they never formally said that she was paralyzed. The word paralyzed or paralyzation, these are words we haven't heard anyone say. And until they do, I'm keeping hope alive that Allie will walk again, all right? The background is Joan Ferguson watching, looking quite pleased by the fucking chaos that's happening in front of her. You know, she's just back there watching, looking at everything. Like, she's not saying nothing, but she's watching everything that's happening. Like, yo, and when her time comes, everybody better watch out. So now we are with the girls. We've got Boomer and the rest of them, Judy, Allie, Ruby, and they're storming down the halls, walking towards H1. And Boomer's like, I've had enough of Luke Kelly's shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having her shit anymore. And I'm like, that's right, Boomer. Stand up for yourself. Stand your ground. Just, you know, be careful when it comes to Luke Kelly, because Luke Kelly is not the one, all right? And so they end up walking, and Boomer's telling her, you know, I can't let her get away with this. Look at what she did to you. She's telling Allie this. And Allie's like, listen, don't fight her because of me. And Boomer's like, listen, I'm fighting her because it has to be done. She's got to be stopped. You know what I'm saying? Oh, meanwhile, in the yard, we see Mari's fucking ass, and she's sitting at the benches when all of a sudden she looks and she sees Rita Connors, okay? So Rita is coming now, and she goes to Mari, and she's like, what up, Mari? And she's like, you know, getting in her face and giving her that look, like, got something to say. And Mari's like, listen, calm down. I just want to let you know that there's no beef between me and Ruby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I let that go, and she don't got nothing to worry about, because I'm not going to try to kill her no more. And Rita's like, you better not be, bitch. And then she's like, goes like that to Mari, kind of. And Mari jumps back like a pendeja. In the midst of all of this, Linda comes and tells Mari the request that she requested as far as being transferred out of H6 has been denied by Will Jackson. All right, so that's it. Rita hears all of this, and she looks at Mari, and she smirks about it, and she walks off. Okay, and then after they walk off, Lou Kelly walks in. She sits down next to Mari, and she's telling Mari, you know, I've been thinking about Reb and his funeral, you know, a lot, and how his bitch ass mother probably buried him in a dress. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't there for him and shit. And Mari says, I wasn't there to bury my son Danny either. And so Lou is like, it's this fucking place. Then Mari decides to give Lou a heads up, and she's like, yo, I got something to tell you. I gotta put you on to something. We have a new inmate, okay? Rita Connors is back. She's Ruby's older sister, and she's no fucking joke, all right? She killed my second in command, Drago, with her bare hands. She beat her to a bloody pulp with her bare fucking fists, okay? She's hardcore. So you need to fucking watch out, because if you're gonna get into this shift fight and think that you're gonna just stab up Boomer, and Rita is gonna sit back and watch it and not jump in to do something, estás equivocada, okay? Lou is like, oh, word, thanks for the heads up. And then what happens? There's some announcements being made that the drug tests are happening. So Mullet comes scurrying over to Lou's table and tells her, Lou, I need some clean piss because my shit is fucking filthy. Lou tells Mullet that could be arranged. Meanwhile, in Anne Reynolds' office, Vera comes in. So Vera comes in to question Anne about this whole Will and Mari shit. And she's like, yo, why are you listening to the likes of Mari Winter? She's a fucking grimy ass bitch who can't be trusted. And then Vera's like, what did she tell you? What did Winter tell you anyway? And Anne says something in this part, okay, that made me want to smack the shit out of her. Like, 2 times. Like, pshloom, and then pshloom. Like, you've got a lot of nerve. So this is what she said. She was like, oh, listen, wasn't it you that told me about the protocols to protect the prisoners? You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you who it was. Meanwhile, she went and lagged to Lou and told Lou that it was Allie that lagged. You know what I'm saying? Bitch, yo, when I tell you, when Anne gets what's coming to her, it's going to be a glorious day. I'm going to be so excited, all right? So excited, because she's a bitch. Anne tells her, never mind, the questioning is happening, and that's just what it is. So Vera leaves, and then Linda comes through the other door and tells her, yo, I just thought I would let you know that Mari is out here asking for a fucking transfer, all right? And Will Jackson denied it. So Anne gets like a thought of what she's going to do with this information, and later on, we'll talk about it in a future scene, okay? So now we've got Joan and Dr. Miller, and they are in his office, and they're talking. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about what she's telling him about what happened with her and Vera, where she, you know, told Vera, meet me in the bathrooms, meet me in the showers at 3 o'clock so I could give you the information about who killed Sheila. And then when she told her who killed Sheila, fucking Vera tells her, bitch, nobody believes you. She laughs her off and walks out. So Joan is telling this to Dr. Miller, but she's not giving him details. Try to help somebody by giving them information to solve a problem, but I was rejected. You know what I'm saying? And she says she felt hurt by it, and she couldn't understand why she felt hurt, because feeling hurt is not something she's used to feeling. The bitch don't feel, okay? Remember, this is fucking Joan Ferguson, okay? So she's telling him that she felt hurt by this, and she felt regret and guilt and shit. As she's saying these things, Dr. Miller is getting all excited when she tells him that she felt hurt and that she felt regret and guilt over the things that she had done to certain people in the past, right? And then we see the flashbacks of her slapping the shit out of Vera in seasons past. You know what I'm saying? She's basically saying she feels regret because of this shit. So Dr. Miller gets all hype and goes and he runs quick to the blinds to shut the blinds and make it dark inside so nobody can see. He's like, the medication is working. You know what I'm saying? This is an empathetic response. this is an empathetic response to the situation at hand. So he goes, he gives some more of the pills, and Joan Ferguson is all misty in the eyes. She's drinking the pills. She looks up at him all hopefully and shit, and then a lone tear falls from her eyes. And I was just like, oh shit. This whole Joan storyline is very interesting. I'm going to tell you my thoughts after we discuss the other scene that her and Dr. Miller are in. So, now we're in the halls of Wentworth where these benches are being brought in. They're called restraint station via Anne Reynolds' bitch ass by her request. You know what I'm saying? And this is what she's going to use to punish the women. There's a 2-hour time frame. Like the limit that you could be shackled to these things is 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? And she's going to use these for like unruly prisoners or anyone who fails a drug test. You know what I'm saying? So that they could be named and shamed. Will is appalled. He doesn't like none of this. And so he sees Vera and they're talking about it. And she's like, listen, how about you relax, okay? You need to pick your battles. One fucking battle at a time. Focus and deal with your most important issue, which is this shit about you and Mari, okay? Because if you're not the governor, you can't help the women. And he's like, you know what? You're fucking right. And she's like, and remember what I told you, because they're gonna question you today. Deny, deny, deny. It's nighttime in the halls of Wentworth, and we hear my precious baby love in her cell crying. She is an emotional wreck, all right? She misses Reb so very much. How could she not? You know what I'm saying? She's just distraught. She's sad. She can't stop crying. So she's in her cell crying. You know what I'm saying? And what do we see? Mari sitting in the unit. I see. She's covering her ears because she cannot stand to hear the grief that she caused, okay? Which is Lou crying in grief over the loss of her man. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Mari. So Joan comes and she sits down next to Mari. You know what I'm saying? And she gives her this look, como quien dice, I've come, bitch. I have come to play games with your mind. Joan is like, why do you want to leave H6? I would hate to be here without you. And Mari's like, I feel guilty. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I created a monster who hurt someone that I cared about and loved. You know what I'm saying? And in the end, I had no choice, she's saying. And then she stops herself and realizes that she was almost about to tell Joan that she killed Sheila. Meanwhile, this is Joan Ferguson we're talking about. She already knows, okay? Joan knows everything that's going on in that prison. Like, they need to not sleep on Joan. I know I'm not sleeping on Joan because I know her. I know her, okay? So, meanwhile, in H1, the girls are all there. Allie and Judy's treacherous fucking ass are watching television, and Boomer and Ruby are sitting at the table, and they're having a cup of something. You know what I'm saying? Tea, coffee, I don't fucking know. So they're talking, and Ruby asks Boomer, what's up? And Boomer tells her, I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I'm not scared of Lou, because Lou's just an angry bully. You know what I'm saying? First of all, of course she's angry. They killed the love of her life. Who's not gonna be? Okay? So they're talking about that, and Boomer's like, I just wish things were different. I wish I was pregnant. I wish Allie was back to normal. I wish things were different. And, the girls now come, Allie and Judy's treacherous ass, they come, they all gather around the table, and they're basically telling her, listen, Boomer, we got your back. And Ruby's like, I'll be your second. You know what I'm saying? Second in command. And then fucking Judy comes out talking about, I'll be your third. And I was like, you know what? Judy Bryant, I'm gonna need for you to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Because what are you gonna do? We all saw how Luke Kelly swatted you to the side like a fucking piece of fucking paper. You ain't gonna do nothing. So just, they all laugh about how useless they all are. And that was the end of that scene. It was really, really cute, and I loved it. I love Boomer, and I love the friendship that her and Ruby have, and her and Allie have. Judy ain't shit, you know what I'm saying? But I love the friendship that the three of them have. It's like a family thing, like a sisterhood. I love it. So the next scene we see is Rita Connors. And she is looking at her fine-ass reflection in the mirror. And what is she wearing? The teals. So I was like, just, very excited because we've never seen Rita in teal. This is the moment that a lot of us were waiting for, and here it is. She's in teal, okay, and I was here for all of it. So the next scene is Will walking into the yard. So Will is now in the yard, and he sees Rita wearing the teal. And he's a little confused. And he's like, hold up, is this Rita in teal? So he goes, he sits next to her. He asks her, why the hell aren't you in breakfast? And she's like, I'm not hungry. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I prefer the jacket. And after seeing her in teal, I was really excited. But I was like, you know what? I think I prefer the jacket as well. But before, listen, not that she didn't look good in the teal. She looked great in the teal. They're just basically having like a heart-to-heart. She's telling him, you know, I don't know who I was. I lost myself these last 10 years. And he's telling her, you know, the same thing happened to me. It's hard to find your way back, but it's possible. And then she's like, you know what? Maybe I will go get a bite to eat so that I don't like, you know, fade away. And they smile. And it was nice. You know what I'm saying? It was nice. So what happens next? Rita stands her fine ass up. And I was like, muchacha. So what happens? Leah Purcell, she ended up posting like some Wentworth related photo on her Instagram. And I commented, you were looking good in them teals. And she commented back. This was her comment here. It was a bunch of laughing emojis. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I said it. She looked so good in those pants. Okay. I enjoyed every second of watching her walk away in that scene. It was great. You know, listen, I am who I am and I like what I like, and I'm not ashamed of it. We're now in the halls of Wentworth, where we see Mullet and Zaina and the rest of Lou's gang of fucking freaks and weirdos, okay? And they're walking out their hall and they're voicing their opinions about these restraint stations. You know what I'm saying? They don't like it. After them is Allie, Judy, Boomer, and they're all walking up and saying the same thing, looking at the restraint stations, and then they see Rita. And they're like, oh shit, Rita in teal. And she was like, yeah, it does wonders for the figure. And I was like, you are damn fucking right. It does do wonders for your figure. So they're talking, and Judy's treacherous ass and Allie walk off. And Rita's questioning Boomer, like, what's up with Judy? Like, she is so far up Allie's ass, can she even breathe? And Boomer's like, yeah, we can't get a moment alone with Allie because Judy's always around. And then Rita's like, so where is Ruby? And Boomer's like, I don't know. And Rita's like, Boomer? And she's like, I really don't know. So Rita goes off to find Ruby. When Rita leaves to go find Ruby, Boomer is left standing talking about, she says she wasn't going to do anything stupid. And when she turns, here comes Lou Kelly. And she's right there in Boomer's face talking about, enjoy your last meal. And she walks away and Boomer's like, fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? So now we see Ruby. And Ruby's little ass, okay, was where? In Lou's cell. So basically Ruby goes into Lou's cell, okay? Oh, wait, I forgot that part. So I forgot the part where Ruby tells Boomer, you know, I have a plan. Go eat breakfast and I'll meet you there, okay? And that was a part that I forgot. So now Ruby is in Lou's cell, where she plans on shivving her a couple of times and sending her to medical so that they don't have to have this fight, Boomer and Lou don't. And I'm just like, bitch, you got a lot of nerve. First of all, Lou is going to fuck you up. And I don't care if you know how to box. Lou is going to fuck you up. Bottom line. So what happens? Rita comes, grabs the shiv out of Ruby's hand and stops the whole thing. Tells Ruby, you're bugging. And Ruby's like, listen, I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do because I have my homegirls back. And that's it. Like, I haven't given up. And Rita's just like, fucking shit, man. So then in the next scene, we're back in Anne Reynolds' office. And Mari Winter is brought in. And she's basically trying to eat Mari's mind at this point. Telling her, listen, I heard the allegations. I just want you to tell me the truth. You know what I'm saying? And she's like referring to Will as an asshole and how he using his male privilege to do this, that, and the third, and yada, yada. And I heard you wanted to transfer. Well, Mari Winter, I can make all your dreams come true. I can give you a transfer. I can transfer you to a minimum security prison. Like, I could put you in a whole new prison, a minimum security one, where nobody knows who you are. You have no history with anyone and you can start over fresh. You know what I'm saying? And do your time, you know, safely. And Mari's like, oh shit, I didn't think this was even a possibility. She didn't say this, but this is what she's thinking, right? So in the next scene, we see Will Jackson, and he's in medical to see what's good as far as the drug test results of the women. And she's like, well, you know, the regular shit, everyone's a meth head or on whatever, MDMA or whatever the fuck it was. And then she's like, except for one drug test that came out positive for a drug that we don't supply to the women here. I sent it out for testing so that we could find out what the fuck it was. And Will is like, who was the prisoner who tested positive for this drug? And she's like, Joan Ferguson. In the next scene, we're back in Dr. Miller's office, and he's there with Joan, and they're having a conversation. First of all, what Joan proceeds to say in this scene, I felt like if the writers of Wentworth heard my questions that I had about Joan last week and answered them right then and there. I know it's not possible, but that's the way it felt. They're in the office, and Joan is telling him that she feels like there's two halves of her. And then she goes on to say, I'm not confused. They're not two distinct personalities. I am Joan Ferguson, right? And I was like, okay, because in my last video, I'm like, is she Joan? Is she Kath? Are they two different people? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just so lost. So thank you for clearing up my confusion. It's Joan Ferguson, okay? So she's telling him that there's a part of her, the Kath part of her, who longs for a human connection. You know what I'm saying? But that part of her is constantly at odds with Joan, who wants to kill everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so she says that she finds it hard to negotiate the boundaries, you know? And so he asks her what she did in the past to satisfy these urges, and she was like that she would exploit the weakness in others and create monsters and use these monsters to hurt other people. You know what I'm saying? Jake Stewart, he was one of the monsters she created to hurt Vera, okay? Nils Jesper was also one of the monsters that she created. So then while they're talking, they cut. After she says that she created monsters that she used to hurt other people, it cuts to Vera and Jake talking in Vera's office. And Jake is telling her, you need to let me help with baby Grace. And she's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I don't need your fucking help. So they're just going back and forth because of that. And then we go back to Dr. Miller's office. And Joan is telling him that the people she hurt are the ones who disappointed her the most in life. You know what I'm saying? Because he asks her, did you hurt the people that you hated the most? And she was like, no, I hurt the ones that disappointed me the most. And he was like, so you cared about them then? And she was like, well, as much as I'm able to care for anyone, because she's got no feelings, remember. Joan feels nothing because she's fucking crazy, okay? So he tells her some parable about two wolves, that everybody has a good wolf and an evil wolf living inside of them, and the wolf that wins is the one who you choose to feed. You know what I'm saying? And she was about to say something, but then a screw came to collect her because their time was up. You know what I'm saying? So she leaves the office. As she's walking away, she's passing by Vera's office and hears Vera and Jake arguing. And Jake is basically threatening Vera to take her to court for joint custody if she doesn't let him do his fatherly duties, all right? And she's like, I will never let you take baby Grace away from me. You've got a lot of fucking nerve. Get the hell out of my office. And as he's storming out, this is Jake storming out, and this is Joan, and they fucking lock eyes, and Jake is annoyed and walks off. Joan, however, is staring at him, okay, with this face, and in that moment, we know which wolf, okay, she's choosing to feed. The bad wolf, because Jake has to go, okay? That was her looking at him like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you, so just know that. Now, meanwhile, back in the corridors of Wentworth, we see Rita being dragged to one of the restraint stations. Why is she being dragged? Because her drug test came out positive for drugs. And she's like, y'all are bugging. The test is wrong. Test it again. You're not gonna fucking shackle me to this shit. They shackle her to the shit. She's pissed. The whole time in the background, who's watching this happen? Luke Kelly. So Luke Kelly's there with her hand around her neck, looking as fine as she wants to be. And Mullet comes talking about it, that whole swapping of the piss worked. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they did. They swapped Mullet and Rita's piss. Lou swapped Mullet and Rita's piss so that Mullet's test could come out positive, and in turn Rita's would come out negative. But there was a reason for that. The reason for that was Lou needed Rita out of the way in order to fight Boomer without Rita getting involved in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? So Mullet tells her Allie and Judy are talking with Judy's lawyer, and Lou was like, oh, word? You know what? Let the women know we're fighting in the laundry, and we're doing it now. So they move up the fight because now Boomer's crew is gone. The only one she's got is Ruby, and Lou already knows that she could take Ruby down in a fucking heartbeat, so she's not worried. Not that she was worried about Allie or Judy, but no moral support is a confidence breaker. So in the next scene, we see Ruby going to Boomer, telling Boomer the time has come. Lou called up the fight, and Boomer's like, nervous or whatever. Boomer tells her, I'm gonna take a shit and I'll be right there. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't. She was just stalling and buying time because she was nervous. I've been in those situations before where, you have to go and get into this fight and you're scared. And so you're like, hold on, I need a minute, okay? So Ruby leaves. She goes to the laundry. She tells everybody Boomer's on her way. They're telling her if she doesn't come, she forfeits the fight and I win, blah, blah, blah. This is Luke Kelly saying this. So then Boomer, we see her back in her cell and she's crying. And she's like, I can't do this. And she goes and she starts crying underneath the covers. You know what I'm saying? And then back in the laundry, we see Ruby talking about, I'm going to go get Boomer. Mullet stops her and tells her nobody gets in, nobody gets out. You know what I'm saying? The only one coming in is Boomer. Ain't nobody coming out until this is settled. And then she looks at Lou. And Lou just is like, wah, wah, or whatever she says. But she just looks so cute when she said it. I love Lou Kelly, okay? So they're all like, she ain't coming. That's it, whatever. It's over. I win. And then Ruby's like, you know what? Not so fast. I'm her second in command. So I'm going to fight you. And Lou's like, bet. While Lou and Ruby are talking shit, Lou is telling Ruby, so what, you want to have a dike-off to see who's going to be top dog? And Ruby tells her, you give us a bad name. And I was just like, why? How? How does she give y'all a bad name? What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking out your ass now because she doesn't give... How does she give us a bad name when all she ever did was fucking love her partner and show nothing but undying love and loyalty to him? You know what I'm saying? She doesn't give anybody a bad name. Boomer comes in and she's like, I got this. So now she's got the shit. And Lou looks at Boomer and she's like, okay, Susie Booms, let's go. And I was like, I love you, Lou Kelly, but please don't hurt Boomer. So they're circling each other and then they charge at one another, and Lou Kelly, she cuts Boomer in the forearm, and so Boomer pushes Lou Kelly. Lou Kelly hits her head face first into a machine and she snaps back, and when she turns around she's smiling, okay, like you're gonna have to come harder than that. So she's smiling at Boomer and I'm just like, oh my god, I love you. And then she charges at Boomer twice again. And she's like, pshum, pshum. And she slices Boomer another 2 times. So she sliced Boomer 3 times total on her fucking arm. You know what I'm saying? And then Boomer, charges her head first into the machine. Lou goes back. And in that moment, Boomer takes her hand and grabs Lou's shiv and throws it to the floor and then kicks it back. So now Lou is looking like, oh shit. So she looks a little worried, but not really, because she knows that she got this. You know what I'm saying? So Boomer's now holding the shiv at Lou Kelly. Lou Kelly's looking like, really, bitch? And somebody yells out, how is this a fair fight? And I'm assuming they said that because Boomer had the shiv and Lou Kelly didn't. So Boomer puts down her shiv. And Ruby's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Are you crazy? And so she puts down her shiv and she picks up her hands. We gonna fight. I was kind of disappointed that Lou Kelly didn't pick up her hands, because I would have loved to have seen her square up, but she squared up in her own way. You know what I'm saying? So they start fighting. Boomer pushes Lou Kelly into the laundry carts, and Lou Kelly, pops back laughing, okay? Loving every minute of this. Lou Kelly is about this life. I keep telling y'all, like, don't fuck with Lou Kelly, because she don't give a fuck. So what happens? Lou Kelly's laughing, and then she goes and she charges at Boomer. I'm thinking that they're going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, Lou Kelly does a shoo. She ducks and she grabs the shiv. And then I proceed to start screaming, no, please, please don't. Leave her alone. So I'm screaming all of these things out while watching Lou Kelly stab up Boomer. Oh my god. So she's just pshoo, and she's shiving Boomer and she's catching her all through here, and I'm just like screaming, and it was terrible because I love Boomer. You know what I'm saying? But okay, so what happens? So Boomer falls after Lou Kelly shivs her, what I saw 4 times. Later on, and Reynolds says it was 6 times. I saw just 4 stabs. So, whatever. It is what it is. So she stabs her. Boomer falls, okay? Lou Kelly kicks her, and Boomer falls back, and now she's on her back, and she's bleeding, and I'm like, oh my god. But the whole time I'm saying to myself, it's okay. She's not gonna die. We know she doesn't die because we see her later with the box, the pregnancy test. So just relax, okay? So I'm, relaxed at this point. Like, I know, she's just hurt, but she's gonna live. And so Luke Kelly grabs Boomer and puts the shiv to her throat and tells her, you know how this ends. You know what I'm saying? And Boomer's just looking at her, and Luke Kelly's looking down at her. And then she started screaming some words. Yo, when I tell you, there's nothing more exhilarating than hearing Luke Kelly scream to the top of her lungs, okay? With rage. I love it. So she's got her by the throat, and she's like, give it up or I will slice your fucking throat. And Ruby's like, Boomer. And, scared. And so Boomer's like, you win. And oh my God. And then Luke Kelly kisses Boomer on the forehead, okay? And then she looks back at her and she tells her, good fight, Booms. And she meant it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like she was being a bitch. She meant it. That was a good fight. You got me good because you bashed the shit out of my face. In the thing, you took my weapon from me. It was a good fight. Good fight. It was like a testament to their friendship back in the day. Speaking of which, Katrina was doing an interview with Screen Star Events where she was talking about her and Lou's history, like their friendship in the past, okay? And she was like, oh, I don't want to say too much, blah, blah, blah. I still have all my notes, yada, yada, yada. And you never know when they might turn up.
We have in our heads that they were thick as thieves at one point. And that's all I'll say. But, yeah.
Which would actually tie in perfectly with a moment in tonight's episode after the fight. And Lou, with absolute sincerity, says, well played, good fight, Booms.
And kisses me on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, that jumped out at me as a brilliant little moment. That all makes sense, that all ties in.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, that was our, that's what we wanted to sort of maintain.
At some point, I hope you kept those notes, because at some point, they've got to appear somewhere in there.
No, I have definitely got those notes, and hopefully they will come in handy at some point. Maybe.
And all I could think of was spin-off. There's going to be a spin-off between Boomer and Luke Kelly where we're going to get their backstory, how they became friends. Let me just say, whoever's going to produce this spin-off, I volunteer to be on it, okay? So I'm just throwing it out there now. If you need someone to do something. So that was that. So then Lou walks out, badass, okay? Not giving two fucks, like, yeah, I did that. She walks out. Her minions are cheering and walking out behind her. Ruby runs to Boomer and she's telling her that was like, you did well, you did good, Boomer. And she was like, really, did I? She was like, yeah, you look good out there. You gave her a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Mari's telling the Screw, get your ass in here and call the people so that medical could come for her. And the Screw does what Mari says, and that's the end of that. So in the next scene, we have Judy Bryant's treacherous fucking ass and Allie, and they're talking to Judy's lawyer. And he's just asking them questions, are y'all together, yada, yada. And Allie's like, without Judy, I wouldn't be able to cope in here. And she takes Judy's hand, and Judy gives her this look, like, oh my God, like she was touched. And I was left wondering. My notes said, is Judy beginning to feel bad because she looked like it for a second there? But in either event, I don't give a fuck, okay? She still needs to die. So, in this next scene, my precious baby love is being brought into Anne Reynolds' office, okay? This fucking bitch. So she sits down and Anne Reynolds tells her, she's like, yo, what's up with you, Lou? I told you about the murders. First you go and you fucking kill this fucking bitch, Sheila, and now you're gonna stab up Boomer 6 times? What's wrong with you? And Luke Kelly's like, you wanted me to be top dog, and now you're bitching and complaining to me? And Anne Reynolds is like, listen, we gotta work together, okay? And then Lou, she goes forward towards the desk, and Anne jumps back like the pussy-ass bitch that she fucking is, okay? So Anne is telling her, I'm gonna make this worth your while, but I need you to help me. I need complacent women. You know what I'm saying? I can't have these inmates wilding out. And Lou tells her, Sheila should have been in protection. But you decided to close protection and let a mass murderer into general population. And she killed Reb. So Anne Reynolds, this fucking bitch, looks at my precious baby love dead in the eye. And she tells her, so you're trying to blame me now for the death of your girlfriend? For what was that? So Luke Kelly is like... And then she flips the fuck out. She's looking at her with these eyes, and then she just loses it. And she's like, ah! And she throws all Anne Reynolds' shit from her desk to the side. Anne Reynolds jumps back, and she's literally screaming for help from one of the screws. She's like, officer! And she's like, ah! And Luke Kelly's throwing shit, kicking shit, and then she goes around the table to go grab Anne and beat the fucking brakes off of Anne when a screw comes and stops her from beating the shit out of Anne. And Lou is being dragged out from this fucking office, and the whole entire time she's looking at Anne with this look like, bitch, we didn't have beef before, but we got beef now. You are not safe. You're not fucking safe, bitch. So we see them dragging Luke Kelly to one of the restraint stations now in the next scene. She's being dragged out from Anne Reynolds' office into one of the benches where they are trying to restrain her, and you could clearly see the officer is struggling. At one point, Lou's in the front, and he's like struggling to bring her back, and she's just like, no. And he really had to like force her back because she's a strong ass bitch. Okay, that was the show showing us Lou's strength. You know what I'm saying? She is not the one. I keep telling y'all, if y'all don't got no faith in my precious baby love, I'm gonna need for y'all to have some, because she is that bitch. So she's there, she's pissed. They've got her hands, they've got her feet shackled, and she's pissed. You know what I'm saying? So she's like this when all of a sudden she looks up, and she looks this way with that face that I loved so much when we got the fucking previews, the trailers before, and she stares at somebody with this beautiful face, and then we see who she's staring at. She's staring at Rita Connors. And then she looks at Rita, and they show Luke Kelly's face up close, like her face took up the whole screen, and she tells Rita, what the fuck are you looking at? Then they show Rita looking back at Lou, and Rita's whole face takes up the whole screen. It was great. So these two powerhouses, okay, are staring each other down. We know it's going to be some shit moving forward. We've seen the fucking trailers. It is going to be great to see these two go at it. Now we fast forward and we see Will. He's done being questioned, and they're calling Mari in because it's her turn for questioning. So Mari is being taken in for questioning. You know what I'm saying? And they're asking her questions about her and Will's relationship. And she's saying, well, I was the former top dog, and as top dog, the governor and the top dog have a certain relationship. You know what I'm saying? So what happens? They ask her, did your relationship ever become inappropriate? And Mari's like, no, never. You know what I'm saying? Never, not once did he try to play himself. Never, not once did we get romantical. You know what I'm saying? It's a lie. I don't know why anyone would say this, but the shit ain't true. And Anne is just looking at Mari like, bitch, you could have had it all. You could have had it all, and Will would have been fired, but you just, what the fuck? So that was that. You know what I'm saying? Mari did exactly what I knew she was going to do, which was not tell the truth about the fucking relationship. Like I fucking knew it.
She's gonna question Mari Winter. Did you or did you not engage in sexual congress with the governor? And she is most likely going to lie and say, no. No, I did not. I did not have sex with Will Jackson. She's gonna say no. She's gonna deny it to the ends of the earth, and they're gonna believe her. The reason why she's gonna lie and say that it never happened is because Will told her, some people are capable of redemption. You, however, are not. He told her this, and then she cried, and then she stopped crying and was like, nope, I'm gonna make it my life's mission to show you that I can be redeemed. Okay? So she's gonna tell the truth, thus redeeming herself in the eyes of Mr. Jackson.
You know what I'm saying? I know these women, okay? So she's now walking back to her unit when she comes across Will in the corridor as he was waiting for her. And he asks her, why did you lie and say that nothing happened? And she was like, because you've always been good to me. For Christ's sakes, you saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Basically, it's like the least that I could do. And he's like, well, don't expect me to say thank you. And she's like, I don't. And she walks away. And he looks at her, And I was like, wow. I think in that moment, Will, he kind of respected Mari as a woman for what she just did. You know what I'm saying? And I think moving forward, their relationship might be a little different. Meanwhile, back in H1, Judy and Allie are talking about what Allie's gonna write for the lawyers. You know what I'm saying? When all of a sudden Rita comes back into the unit. They let her out of the restraint station, you know what I'm saying? And so Ruby asks Linda, is any word on Boomer? Is she okay? And Linda tells her, Boomer's natural padding saved her The shiv didn't hit any vital organs. It's just flesh wounds. She'll be back tomorrow. So, Rita goes into her cell. And Ruby ends up coming into her cell. Ruby walks into Rita's cell and we see Rita putting back on her free world clothes. Okay? She tells Ruby, I'm back and we're gonna take this shit to trial and I'm fighting this shit. Then the two of them together do some shit like this and I'm like, yes, so exciting. Like that means that Rita's come to kick ass and that's it. You just need to leave Luke Kelly the fuck alone. That's all I'm saying. Meanwhile, back in H6, now these are the last moments of the show, so we're almost at the home stretch. So meanwhile, back in H6, we have Joan and Mari in the unit while in the background we hear Lou crying. Okay, she's crying over Reb again. She's in mourning, puñeta. So she's crying and Joan is talking to Mari. Joan is telling Mari, you know, I didn't think that you had a choice. And Mari's looking at Joan like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And so Jake comes walking down the corridors and he's like just looking into the units to make sure that everything is okay. And Joan is telling Mari, you know, sometimes you have to kill the monsters you've created. And she's looking at Jake, basically letting us know that Jake is a dead man. Mari ends up leaving Joan right there where she's at, and she goes into Lou's cell. And I'm just like, yo, leave Lou alone. Stay away from her already, is what I'm thinking. And she goes into the cell, she sits down, she puts her hand on Lou's leg, and I yelled out, don't touch her, all right? And so Lou's crying, and she's like hesitant to go seek comfort in Mari's arms, but she does. She collapses onto her chest and she's crying, and Mari's telling her, you know, it's all right, sweetheart. You've won. You know what I'm saying? You killed Sheila, your top dog. It's over. There's nothing more to fight for. You won. And she's like, nah. Sheila didn't kill Reb. It was this place. Reynolds, Miller, Bennett, Jackson. And then she gets up after she says their names and she's like, it's not gonna be over until I kill every last one of them. And this prison is ripped the fuck apart. And then we see Mari's face like, oh shit, and then it stops. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I've got some thoughts really quick. Here are my thoughts. When Lou said this, I'm like, oh shit, my precious baby love is out for blood, okay? I mean, I kind of did think she was going to want to kill Mr. Jackson after the look she gave him when she found out that they took Reb to the coroners without letting her say goodbye and knew he was in danger moving forward. I could see why she wants to get at Dr. Miller and Ann Reynolds, but why Vera? Vera didn't do jack shit. Here are my thoughts. I don't feel like Julie Bryant is going to be the one to blow up the prison anymore. I feel like Lou is going to be the one to blow up the prison. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So Lou's basically going to blow up the fucking prison, okay? And it's going to be great. She's killing them all, okay? And I am so here for it. I can't wait to see who dies next, all right? But real quick, Joan. So this whole shit with Joan, we know that Joan now is Joan. She's not going back and forth between two different personalities. No, she's Joan, but Joan remembers Kath. She remembers how it felt to be good, to be Kath, and she wants this. I don't know who said this. I don't know if somebody told me this during like messaging back and forth. I don't know if this was written by somebody in a comment. I don't know if somebody told me this as something that they read from someone else's comment, but somebody somewhere theorized, right, that Joan Ferguson would die saving Vera's life. And let me just say, I want to explore this option real quick. It makes nothing but sense to me. As much as I want to see the freak out and cause chaos, which I'm certain that we're gonna get to see. But I know we're gonna see the freak lose it. She's gonna lose her shit. People will die because of it. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like deep down, Joan wants to be good. I've been saying this for a minute now, and I feel like at the end of it all, whoever said that they think that Joan will die saving Vera's life, I think you're onto something. I think you're so onto something. I think that you may have figured out exactly how the fucking season ends, the series ends. And it's gonna end with Joan sacrificing herself to save Vera or Baby Grace. More redemption thing. As much as I can't stand Mari, you know what I'm saying? I feel like redemption will be hers. And I feel like redemption will be Joan's as well. And I think that the writers know what they're doing. They're going to give us as fans Joan's rampage. But they're also going to give us Joan's redemption. I feel it in my bones, okay? I said I don't know what's going to happen next week, but things are going down. And I cannot wait to watch. So world, this is it. This is the end of the video. I hope that y'all like this video. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that the fight between Boomer and Lou was a fair fight? I'm going to say it was a fair fight. Boomer dropped her weapon because somebody questioned the fairness of the fight with her having a shiv and Lou not having a shiv, right? Fine. But Boomer, you're in jail, mama. And in jail, anything goes. And those are just the facts. Lou did what she had to do to become top dog. Lou's not playing no games. So if you're not ready to, like, get into some shit, don't go up against Lou. Moving forward, I just want to say, as much as I love Rita's character, yeah, I'm going to be excited to see Rita kick ass. No, I'm not going to enjoy if it's Lou that's getting their ass kicked. Yo, let me tell you something. The writers of Wentworth, they are not playing no games. They're not playing no games with us, not with our emotions, nothing. Nobody's safe. Anything is possible, and I cannot wait to see what happens in episode 4. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Like my shit. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Turn on the notification whatever the fuck, the damn bell, you already know, so that you could be alerted when I make videos in the future. All right, world, this was it. Thank you so much for watching. Long live Lou Kelly with her badass self. I love her, okay? And that's it. Bye.